ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Okay, so anything that you all want to start with? Anyone can go.
Sir, 5 kosa actually, if you can repeat little bit.
Okay.
Very quickly.
Yes. We can do that, no problem. So, Panchakosha, to name them, they are Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. So, Manomaya, Annamaya is that basically that makes the gross body made of food, basically. Channena jivati vinashyati tad vihinaha. That one. And Pranamaya is basically the vital air sheath. That one. Where the entire physiological function works through prana only. And within that prana, there were 5 kinds, that were spoken about earlier. As I mentioned, whenever we before we eat, we do one particular ritual actually by chanting Gayatri Japa. Along with that, we call those Pancha Prana also. We call out those names and we say that may the food go to those pranas. That's what we say. So pranaya swaha, apanaya swaha, vyanaya swaha, udanaya swaha, samanaya swaha, brahmanaya swaha. So we say this actually because there are different systems which work in the body. So right from circulatory system onwards, there are so many systems which function. So for each of them we give that ahuti while having those morsels of food. We do this puja before we start eating. So as mentioned earlier during Viveka Chudamani sessions, that ritual is supposed to bring in objectivity towards shariram, towards this annamaya, pranamaya, all this. So when we say that I am giving this morsel of food for pranaya swaha, then apanaya swaha, for each of the systems, when I am just putting it inside, so I am kind of playing the role like watering a plant. So if you have a plant and at home or wherever outside as well, so when you want to water it, so you just want to nourish it, you want to give fertilizer or whatever it is to it, so you have a kind of objectivity between yourself and that plant. Similarly, when we feed shariram consciously this way, Om Prana Swaha, Om Apana Swaha, Om Yana Swaha, Om Udana Swaha, Om Samana Swaha, Om Brahmane Swaha. That Brahman name will always has to come, right? So that's why that is also mentioned actually. So that is also done. And we conclude that mantra saying Brahmani Mahatma Amrtatvaya. So Amrtatvam word is deathlessness. So that kind of a thing obviously we want, right? So most of these words, they're all spilled and they are kept everywhere in the rituals so that we can unlock it. We have a chance to unlock them some point of time. So that particular list of prana, when we do that ritual, it helps us to objectify our own body. That's how it helps. Then coming to Manomaya. Manomaya is that mental sheath where manas is involved. Uh, that's where the dreamer comes into picture. Uh, they say that prana uh, can help control mind uh, and body, because it is sandwiched between um Annamaya and Manomaya. So it is just said, it's said in the same order. Also, it helps actually to say that prana is that which can help control the body as well as mind, and that's the reason it is in between. So Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, that's how it is given as an order. And uh, Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya. So Vijnanamaya is more on the intellect side, where the kartritvam is pronounced a lot actually. So this is where the karta assumes I am doing everything. So the doer part comes here actually. And in Anandamaya, it is more in Sushupti, where the person actually is not consciously enjoying it, but then he is resolved, and that state is Ananda. That state is Ananda to a larger extent. It is not that Swarupa Ananda, the best Ananda, it is not that. But to some extent, it is Ananda, because mind is resolved completely in that state, which gives a great relaxation to mind as well as body. To both these, it gives relaxation, which is consciously enjoyed in the normal sense of our enjoyment, our sense of enjoyment, after waking up, not during that time. In fact, during that time, since mind was resolved, only that kind of happiness was felt in that sense, and that can be consciously understood only when mind is awake again, when body and mind is awake again. So that's where that Anandamaya is not consciously enjoyed, but it's always enjoyed in retrospect. And each of this, there is also a name given to that particular body. Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna. So that Anandamaya thing is called Prajna actually, Sushupti. So these are the Panchakoshas. And the reason why Panchakosha was mentioned uh, was only to identify idam part, everything other than us. The moment we split them, we can understand all those items which we are not. And we have to only analyze those items which we take ourselves to be. That's what has to be taken for analysis. For example, I don't need to open this entire mobile and try finding which of this part is me. I don't need to do that, because thank God, to that extent we are at least objective to world, to that extent. Since the default understanding, the default confusion of everyone, every jiva, is associated with his own body, his or her own body, mind, sense complex. This shariram with the boundary of the skin. That is where one has to dwell a little bit more, and that's where one has to concentrate, because the confusion is there only. Confusion is confusion in terms of wrong identification is completely pervading through this body mind sense complex. And this is where we really have to find ourselves as to who we are, what is our swarupa, and where are we located in this whole body. So if finally someone says, no, this entire the real us is located in maybe one of the cells or whatever it is, small portion somewhere, then what we will do, whenever there is a problem, we will isolate that and hide somewhere. For example, if we are worried about rain, we will not buy a full raincoat. We will find only a small cover which can cover that particular cell alone. We don't need the entire raincoat, right? We can just disassociate ourselves from the body for some time, keep the body wherever it is, and use that smaller raincoat, small one. It is not a raincoat, it will be almost a coating only, and stay put for some time, save ourselves, and when rain goes away, you can claim the body again and start walking. Right? Until then, body has no problem. No, it is jada. Of course, as long as it is not disturbed by others. So the point is as to know as to who we are. So basically, Vedanta guides a person from doing something for being happy, from the state of doing something for becoming happy or being happy, to knowing something. So it changes this entire course actually. So that's where it says that no one has to do vichara. Doing is fine for getting that adhikaratva, the necessary pre-qualification to be able to analyze. Do that vichara. For that, keep doing, no problem. But you have to analyze. Vichara is inevitable because you obtain yourself only through vichara. Your own nature is arupa, so you cannot get into any chemistry lab or biology lab to really understand yourself. So, though we all have the capability to extrapolate and create a lab like CERN, which is there right in Europe, to understand what happened when these gross objects, this entire solar system got formed. How, when. So, we have the capability to extrapolate and extend our capacity to infer. So, one is pratyaksha, other one is anumana. So, the power of anumana is amazing. Where pratyaksha knowledge ends, that's where anumana starts. Of course, anumana is not required where pratyaksha knowledge is already there. For example, if all 9 planets are so small that they can be put into one's pocket, if one is so big, then this person need not really go and understand a Big Bang kaise hua tha, kya hua tha, because this guy would have already seen it while it was being formed. He would have seen. Like the way, for example, we objectify a great tunnel being created between some place in Ladakh to some place in Kashmir, for example. So these things, as they happen, every day, for example, we see all these videos, right, where we say so and so minister is responsible for creating these many roads, this many this is whatever it is, tunnels. We objectify it by understanding, okay, fine, this was the status, the project was approved, so and so was given contract, there were problems during excavation, some environment clearance was not given, forest department clearance was not given. So each detail we get to know. So the moment you get to know all this over a span of 5 years, and then another 5 years when this project finishes, over 10 years you have been following this particular project. So when you follow that entire project, after that, you know every nuance of the project, so it is not a great surprise for you. Similarly, if someone has seen the solar system happening, if someone is so big, that solar system is so small, for him it is not a great deal. But for others, definitely it's a great deal. So, mankind, this Manava Janma, Manushya Janma, is endowed with that kind of power of inference. So, though we might not have seen things happening around in front of us as objectively like that tunnel or whatever road which I was mentioning, we can still understand things through Anumana. So this entire AI, what we see, the world of AI, is using Anumana only. All this extrapolation only it is using actually for, uh, in fact, churning knowledge and giving out knowledge. So that's what it is doing. So the extreme power of Anumana is to understand how this world came about. But there is one difference between knowing anything other than oneself and knowing oneself. So maybe then biology, one has to get into biology to understand, okay, we understand everything is made up of cells and that's the basic unit, homogeneous unit. But of course, the cells differ no, in terms of their construct from one particular organ to the other. So they differ, they are not that homogeneous. Maybe at some other level like DNA or whatever, they uh, become little bit homogeneous. So you have to get down to the basic unit, which is the most homogeneous unit, and then say that this body is made up of those things. But there again, whatever you find, that's only a combination of something. It is never an element. It is a combination of, it's all a compound only. Whatever level you get into, it will be only a compound, because unless there is a mixture happening at a material level, such a human body is not possible to be constructed actually. So it will finally get into compound only, it will never get into elemental. Finally, we can't say that iron is the basis of everything. We can't say that actually. So DNA may be including many other things chemically when you analyze it. That's how it will come to. So in biology, when we want to finally understand what is beyond all these things, then one has to really account for that knower. That knower one has to account for. So knower is of what kind of nature? So one is everything other than that knower, those that can be prepared, and put onto a slide and seen, examined under the microscope, and that person who wants to understand all these things. So there is a difference between those things which go under the microscope, under the lens, for examination, and the examiner himself. So that distinction one has to bring out. So this is where this method of listing out those things which we are not, we the knower is not. So those things, the subtler they are, they become very useful to us, because for me to understand to some extent that I am not the body, I can understand through some simple examples that nail grows on our fingers, right? Toe here, there, hand, everywhere. Fingers as well as toes, and it's something like inanimate as well as animate, because it keeps growing. So you understand that it has life, and when the tip of is cut, we don't have any pain unless you cut it little bit more and deeper, which touches the skin. Similarly here, it keeps growing, but at the same time, if someone cuts hair, we don't die. Otherwise, all those hairdressers will be put into jail actually. So even from a simple common sense understanding, we understand that body is something which can be shed, and it can be anitya, is very clear from these two examples itself. And then when you have a little bit more knowledge of biology, you also understand that cells, they keep dying and they give away to new cells. So that also is known. So as you go more and more subtler in terms of knowledge, you can objectify body very easily. But to objectify mind, intellect, those areas, that becomes a little difficult, because they are a little bit more subtle, and they are the tools which we deploy to know anything that is material. They are the very tool that we use for understanding the material things and worldly things. So it becomes like a circular reference in Excel. So we use mind to know mind, that becomes little tricky. So this is where someone else has to come and say, as a third person, saying, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 koshas are there. I'm giving you the clue. You don't have to worry. It's not like NEET exam where everything you have to try it with pressure. Uh, it's not like that. Shastra comes and gives help. So this is where I think Maya helps. We have to appreciate Maya in these cases because it comes in the form of Shastra as well. As it comes in the form of world, it also comes in the form of Shastra. So it says that please understand these are the subtlest things that are there. These are the subtle things that are there, and you are not any of these things. If you think you are first of all caught in this body, you are not, because you are everywhere. That also it says, right? Sarva Vyapi, it says somewhere, right? Ananta. And then it says that, okay, for you to know anything that is other than you, I can show you all those things from gross to subtle, like Vibgyar. I can show you in that spectrum, I can show you. That's where it says Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. So you can't get beyond Anandamaya. Anandamaya is where mind is resolved. Body itself is not known actually. The sense of our size or our identity just is not there. All that what is missing there from a moksha perspective is that while we don't have a wrong identity and association with this body mind sense complex, we also do not have the right identity of ourselves being everything. That's all. Ourselves being chit. That identification, right identification, is not available there. That is the real difference, what subtle difference which one has to understand between Sushupti and Turiya. Turiya has to be given, as a distinct name to identify that and differentiate that from the other states. Jagratavastha, Swapnavastha, Sushupti. So to differentiate from all these three, there has to be another word given. That's the reason the word Turiya is given. Otherwise, Turiya need not be said, because once you reach that level, Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. Words just return back, not having reached it, not having been able to reach it. Words cannot contain it, because words means a boundary. It cannot contain it. That's the reason it comes back. And at that level, there is no word ideally involved. But the entire pursuit is for mind, because mind is the one which is to understand. This is where it is said, Maneva Manushyanam Karanam Bandha Moksha Yoho. It's for Bandha as well as Moksha. Both this. In both these cases, mind only has to help, and that's the one which has to really cooperate. That's the one which is the beneficiary as well, actually. So this way, when we understand the subtlety, the most subtlest thing which can confuse us, you can see it as idam. Idam is this, not aham. So Shastra is trying to ring fence this chit from everything else. From everything else. Once you derive yourself, you arrive at yourself. So you arrive at yourself by seeing objectively those things which you are not. That's all. That's the only simple technique which is used here to say that, okay, these are all the things that you are not. So that's why this is all Anatma Vichara, if you ask me. So Atma Vichara involves 99.99% Anatma Vichara only. Because this is where we have entangled ourselves into. And that's where we have to de-entangle from. This idea of listing all these idam part into the subtlest level is only a help in terms of de-entangling from that. So this is where in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna uses this word Hridaya Granthi. So Hridaya Granthi is the knot of ignorance, actually he calls it. Knot of ignorance. That knot, knot, the moment you have a thread and it gets into a knot, unless you know how to take it out, which one to pull, you pull a wrong thing, then you are going to help the knot become even stronger. So after that, there's no chance that someone can really come out and take it out. So this can happen. So that's where this idea of jiva misunderstanding itself and getting stuck into this idea of aham being shariram, aham being this gross body, subtle body, causal body. If I say this aham, then that becomes a problem. So this is where it says, see this, see this, see this. Anything that you see objectively, you are not that. You are something beyond that. So this is how this Panchakosha helps. So the technique used is from that perspective. Hare Manishji. Hare.
I'm sorry, I was into some meditation and I just missed.
No,
I'm
it's okay.
extremely sorry.
No, it's no issue. You did the meditation, or you gained. That's it. No problem.
I'm extremely sorry.
No issue. You don't have to be. No issue. Just now, Ashish was asking me to list Panchakoshas. So I listed it, and I didn't stop just by listing it. I thought I'll also give as to why it is explained the way it is explained and why it is listed. Why is it required? So that's what I was explaining until now. So Ashish, did it help you?
Yeah, sir. Actually, you answered my follow-up question because, like, I was listening some Guruji's video, and it says Anandamaya Kosha is nearest to Atma. Whereas you said that all this five is not at all I am.
Correct.
I'm the Atma.
Correct.
So that clarifies that, okay, that gives me the clarification because I got confused. But okay, Anandmaya is a state where, like, I'm happy, whether it's hot and cold, whether I'm getting services or not services because of XYZ. I'm always happy. That's an Anandmaya. He said that, so he also explained the same way. And he said this state is something where you are nearest to the Atma. And I thought, okay, let me just
Yes.
because so you clarified that, okay, all these five, just one, all these five kosha is not me. I myself is an atma. So whether it's, but in this state, like I'm a purest form.
Absolutely.
And nothing worried, nothing bother me. Like I can say.
Yeah.
So thanks, sir. I think this is really helpful.
Yeah. Most welcome.
So I was trying to say something.
Yeah, please do.
Regarding this Panch Kosha, I think the ultimate aim of all of us is to reach Anandmaya Kosha or to reach to that state of bliss. That state of bliss is what our natural tendency is of bliss. Anything which is against bliss, that is what troubles us. So I would say the natural thing which is for us is that we have to be into Anandmaya Kosha, but because of our surroundings, because of our thought process and everything, it deviates us from that Anandmaya Kosha. So when we reach to a stage where nothing affects us, that is, we are able to combine ourselves to or realize ourselves to a stage where we realize that we are that Param Atma or we are the part of that Param Brahma. I think that is where you will reach to a stage of Anandmaya where you are always in bliss. Nothing affects you, nothing is, you are always in a state of bliss. What happens in surroundings, what happens to you, what nature brings, what God gives you, everything is still Anandmaya.
So here I think one technical change, just that we keep the terms intact. It is Ananda, what you are saying, it is not Anandamaya. So Anandamaya is that where one does not still understand the ultimate or oneself, and Anandamaya is that where one cannot objectify anything actually, because mind is resolved. There is no play of mind at all. So the way it is presented, Anandamaya is that where you have sleep without dream. That one it is actually. but what you are actually meaning is Ananda itself. And in English, for want of anything, so they use the word bliss, but it is not an equivalent of Ananda. But that Swarupa Ananda, what you mean is Swarupa Ananda actually, not Ananda Maya. Whatever you said is right, but what you meant is Swarupa Ananda.
So there's one more thing which, as we touched upon this topic, one thing also, what I have been reading is that we are a combination of 24 tattvas of the nature. And these 24 tattvas are what define us. Maybe our sharira is being made up of only panch tattva, but we as individuals or we as prakriti are made up of 24 tattvas.
So as I mentioned, all this, as I mentioned, I think I was just discussing about that only earlier. So if we want to understand Prakriti, we can keep on understanding it actually, and uh, we can make every time we can make one more PhD. So this is how it works. So no one needs to worry that if there are 1 lakh students now pursuing PhD, the other person need not worry that okay, if these guys solve all the topics, then what am I going to solve? So samsara gives problems to solve actually. So there is no worry actually that there is no dearth of problems, or there is no dearth of things to be uncovered yet. That is how Prakriti works. So anything to do with Prakriti, the world, that will be infinity in terms of the options, in terms of the possibilities. So yes, one can understand whether it is 5 tattvas or 24 tattvas, whatever it is, one can understand. But many a times that can only be improved by another person who comes and says there is 25th also. And then that becomes a body of knowledge. So Prakriti being what it is, one can try to understand as much as possible, and when one wants to transfer that knowledge, he has to also give it to others, organize it in such a way that it becomes easy for others. Now, this gentleman, he would have spent maybe 5,000 hours in understanding something. If he gives an account of all these 5,000 hours, what he did, people will lose interest. They will not, then I don't know how many pages his knowledge will go into. It's not possible. So, he has to again categorize them, whatever he wants to teach, he has to categorize in boxes. So he will either come up with 5 points, 10 points, or 1 point and 2 points. So he will say, like for example, Sadhana Chatushtaya. These are all models, right? So he has to again come into some models and say something like that, and some number and list comes into picture. That way, when you transfer knowledge, then we have to give all this, way of, technique of people remembering things as well. So that, mind can form a certain pattern and put things into the right boxes. Similarly, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva is basically, creation, sustenance, and resolution. So then it's Avu Om, then Om. So it becomes easy for mind to compartmentalize and stick that into a place as knowledge. So that's how it helps actually. So any vichara about anything other than ourselves, if it is meant for refining the understanding of I, that is very useful. But if it is meant for refining the understanding of not I, that will be unending pursuit, only because the person as of now who's endowed with the maximum lifespan, to some extent whatever we know, is 120 years. So from that angle, it becomes very difficult to know everything of the other side, the not I part. Becomes very difficult. Even in science, we have seen there's one scientist who takes things up to one level, and there are other PhDs who pick up this as the starting point, and then from there they improve it upon. They say they go and go to the next level, and like the Guru Parampara, the scientist Parampara also continues. But here there is a difference. In Guru Parampara, technique of teaching may change, subject knowledge does not change. Thank God. Subject knowledge does not change. Subject knowledge is aham. Every time whosoever comes, we have to only talk about that aham only. tvam or aham. That's all we have to talk. We don't need to talk anything about anything else. The technique of teaching may differ. That is where Swamiji calls it yukti. The yukti can be different. So from one guru to another guru, depending on how they want to bring their own flavor in terms of teaching methodology, that can be different. Example, that can be different. But subject matter is the same. They have to only convey tattvamasi. After all analysis, they cannot say tat na tvamasi. They will not say tat tvamasi only. They have to say you are that ultimate only. They have to say, and they should not unnecessarily create problems saying that actually you are actually not that. That's what the fact is. But somehow, if you pay me so much money, I can also make it in such a way that you are already that also. So, but then that invoice a premium ticket. So, if left, to as a choice to people for changing the subject matter, then this is how it will change. Like for example, when we get into an airline, and they say, yeah, for getting into an airline, it is 2,000 rupees. Okay, भाई अभी बैठना है. अच्छा बैठना है तो एक और 1,000 देना पड़ेगा. अरे बैठना तो था ही ना पहले से. नहीं ठीक है ना, अभी चीप एयरलाइन है तो वैसे ही रहेगा. Then you have to 1,000 rupees more. Then if the seat belt works, then it's supposed to be another 500 rupees. If it doesn't work, then maybe you don't need to pay anything. So like this, for example, like this, everywhere it will be. And they may also say, actually, we will not maintain the air pressure. If you want, then collectively you all pull in money and give us the money, then we will maintain the air pressure so that you can get oxygen also later. So you just imagine. So luckily, in Brahma Vidya, the subject remains the same and knowledge is intact. What has to be conveyed is intact. The way it has to be conveyed is given in Sampradaya, but the teachers have absolutely, their own right and privilege to alter the method to some extent, so that that's where they bring in their flavor. Because every person is unique and they have their own way of explaining things, and they can always bring that independence, that freedom is given. But subject has to be Aham Brahmasmi and Tattvamasi only. It can never change. Because why? Because that is ultimate. That's the reason it need not change. Otherwise, democratically someone can ask, why boss? If Aham Brahmasmi has been taught for so many years, why not me bring in another one? Aham na Brahmasmi. Aham Alposmi. Aham na Brahmasmi. Aham Alposmi. If I am Alpaha, if I am limited, okay, why do I need Shastra to come and tell me that? I myself know that I am endowed with that idea that I am not everything. That's very clear. That's the reason, I buy a shirt only for myself. When I go to Raymond's, just imagine, see, I am everything. So I am all this, number of people you have, I don't know how many crore, whatever, 6 billion or 7 billion. Give a shirt which can fit all the 7 billion because I'm everything now. So thank God we don't do that actually. We buy only for us only, no. So it's very clear that we feel that we are only this much. So Aham Alposmi is the idea we start with. That is the reason someone else has to give them, idea saying, boss, you are not Alpaha, you are Sarvam. You are Sarva Vyapi. You are Sarvam, not Alpam. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. So that knowledge has to be given. That is what is unique in Vedanta. That is what is unique in Vedas, which is not there anywhere else. That's the reason it has to come and say. Otherwise, democratically someone say, there are 10 other methods also. Let me follow any other method. No problem. You understand Prakriti. You want to be Alpaha, continue to be Alpa thought. No problem. Why not be na? No problem. There is one body of knowledge which is able to, guide a person to say that, boss, you are everything right now. Then the question is, how? The moment how comes in, that's where the teaching starts. How? So that's where you should say, do you see Panchakosha? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I said, yes. Then the question is, all that you see, are you that? No. Anything that you objectify, are you that? No. So then who are you? Okay. Then the person only can say that, yes, I know me now. Now who are you? If he says, he will have the same problem to explain to Guru, which Guru had the problem earlier actually. He will say, I know myself, but I can't say anything more than that. But then he will say, try to explain, no. Then he will say, at least I am very clear after this Panchakosha class that I am that which is not this any of this Panchakosha. So it becomes easy for him to also explain only that way. I am not any of these things, that I am very clear. That's how Shankaracharya also says. when Govinda Bhagavad Pada met him for the first time, he asked him, "Who are you?" He said, "Na bhumir na toyam na tejo na vayu na kamnendriyam va na tesham samuha anekantikatva sushupti ekasiddha tadeko vasishta shiva kevaloham." He says, "I am not this earth, I am not this, I am not this, I am not this, I am not this vayu, I am not this any of these things. I am that Shiva which is everything. Tadeko vasishta, that one Shiva." He is just giving a name, that Brahman, whatever it is, that one Shiva. Tadeko vasishta Shiva kevaloham. That is me only. I am that actually. So that is how he says. So when you have to explain yourself, one word is Aham Brahmasmi. Okay, say a little bit more than yourself. Then the Bhuvinna Toyam na Tejo na Vayu has to come. I am not any of this. So simple thing is, even as a student, we know that, okay, when supposing we are all in one satsang, I say, I know that I am not Manishji, I am not Sonia, I am not Ashish, I am not Bhavya. That is very clear. So like that, Shastra makes us understand what we are not, so that we can also use those ideas in our poetry which we want to write. Okay.
But sir, in this, I was it is maybe I am not being able to explain. Like Shankaracharya, Shankaracharya reached to that stage that he can define what I am not.
In a way,
Because
he also had the help from Shastra also, to a larger extent.
Because it is that today, what I feel is that the biggest challenge today is that we are all concentrated, or we all see what we are. We don't see what we are not. When we start seeing what we are not, then probably some gyan of Vedas will fall in place. Because today we are attached to so many things, and I am talking about myself. That so many things that to reach to that level of what we are not is something maybe the ultimate goal. That because there is nobody like Shankaracharya who defined what he is not. So Nirvana Shatkam has been only Shankaracharya could say that.
Yeah, it's a way of his presentation. It's a way of presentation.
He reached to that stage that he could, and today that's why we have only one Shankaracharya, that he could reach to there.
Yeah. So if you ask me, everyone who has cracked this is like Shankaracharya only. Everyone who has cracked this is like Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya was endowed with the ability to teach and bring out those brilliant things in such a way actually. He was endowed. I mean, he was made that way. He was made for that reason itself actually. I think his birth was meant for that purpose actually. So we can see, this is where I think we see, whenever we see some people with kind of, I don't know whether you call it unnatural, maybe uncommon powers, you can say. Uncommon. There are certain people you see that, people normally get attracted to them. Sometimes it can be wrong also, but then many a times, those who have really delivered to society, they have such an energy that they have a general acceptance, and then they have a way of getting things done very, very fast. I mean, normally it is that way. So we see that. So I think Shankaracharya was one similar person actually like that actually, who was endowed with such a power to be able to do whatever he did. I mean, walking across, this country twice is not easy. He just moved. I mean, within his 32 years, he did all these things actually, established 4 mutts also. That was amazing. I mean, there is no doubt about it. Almost like an avatara he was. That's how I think it was presented also. It was like he was Shiva himself, is what is presented actually there. Of course, we can, even say that yes, definitely he was different from anyone. There is no doubt about it. But when it comes to knowing, even a simple person who understands Aham Brahmasmi, he understands in the same measure as what Shankaracharya would have understood, or what Shastra would have wanted to present. So when one understands Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Vishnu Asmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahma Ji Api Asmi, and Aham Shiva Asmi, Shivoham as well. That's the reason he can say Shivoham. I am that everything, simple as this. Because the moment you understand what you are not, you come to that level of clarity of what you are. So that's where I think Shastra, the methodology helps a lot actually, by keeping away things what we are not, which we daily confront as our own understanding on a daily basis. So daily basis, definitely, and that's what I was, saying that thank God we have problem and attachment only with our body. Otherwise, I have to keep wearing uniform every day for others also. Thank God I only wear for myself. I only have to look for my shoes and I have to wear my shoe only actually. So to that extent, this difference, sense of being different helps. From practical perspective, I have to wear, I have to take care, I have to only, give bath to my body. Then I can claim that, I have taken bath. Otherwise, just imagine. I think mothers and all, normally they own that, the entire family is this. They have to, Diwali ke din, if they have to give all that bath, they will say, "Ha, ab snan ho gaya." They will only feel happy when everyone has been given that, all children, have been given that bath actually. That's when they feel happy, ab ho gaya. So, we can jokingly say that, to that extent, the sense of I being stuck within this boundary of skin is helpful, transaction wise. But unfortunately, that's where the root cause of all problems also. That's the root cause of transactions itself actually. So from there, it is better to not leave it at that level. It's better to have clarity to understand what is happening actually here. What is happening? Why am I given a body which and a mind which has to keep on wandering, look for job, look for food all the time, and have this insecure feeling, work towards security all the time. So either I have to work towards security or pleasure. So I may be secured but not having any pleasure actually. Then you say, ये क्या बात है, ये क्या life है? One is given bungalow, sit here, बस यही है, अब किसी से बात नहीं कर सकता. Secure totally you are, you will get food whenever you want, this, but you can't talk to anyone. ये क्या बात है, ऐसे थोड़ी होता है. I want to talk to someone at least, one person at least. You will say, but you wanted security, na? Take this, na, that's all. You have, all commandos outside the bungalow. Food will keep coming to you. You don't even have to blink it. Don't even blink. You will be keeping on, fed to an extent you can't even blink actually. The blink it bhi nahi chahiye. So that is again. So then we say, I want security also. I want pleasure also. So I want Ardha Kama Moksha. Everything I want. Moksha is not something actually in the list. So I want Dharma Artha Kama. That's how the default understanding is actually. Dispensation is. So from that level, one has to go. At least some people will think that this time pass is not something what I want. So that's where the temporariness is something people will not like it sometimes. That's where that mumukshutvam is pronounced. Saying, I don't want this time pass. I want to really understand what the hell is happening here actually. So that kind of a mental state is very important. That's where that mumukshutvam, to jump into clarity, comes in. So when you jump into clarity, of course Shastra gives that ultimate clarity by saying what you are not. Because to say what you are, it's very simple. You are everything. Tatvamasi, that which you think as the cause of everything, which is everything, is you only. That is the only statement Shastra has to say. That only is not understood. No. That's the reason it has to say, अच्छा आप जा बैठा, अभी बैठ जाओ मैं बताता हूँ. First class, gross body. Second class, subtle body. Third class, causal body. अभी भी clarity नहीं है? No problem. Now we will see in 5 models. This is Panchakosha we will see actually. अन्नमय, प्राणमय, मनोमय, विज्ञानमय, आनंदमय. आप समझ में आया? नहीं, अब भी समझ में नहीं आया. ठीक है, no problem. Some more we will understand. So like that, it dissects to such a level that it makes us really understand what we are not. So when those popular things which we take ourselves to be as aham, those popular things, the common popular things, once they are dispelled, they are called out and dispelled as na aham. They are all idam, not aham. Once they are called out and a person is made to see that those things he is not, that's where I think the clarity emerges. That's where the clarity emerges that, oh, okay. So I thought at this subtlest level, I thought that was me. So that itself is not me. That itself is idam. It's a part of this Panchabhuta and what a tattva, what is happening actually. I am that on which or in which everything else thrives. Everything else thrives on this basis. That's what it is. That's how it is working actually. That's when the refined I comes in And that's where the Aham Brahmasmi item, understanding comes in. Whether it is X or Y, in terms of knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi, it is exactly the same. Exactly the same. In that, there cannot be any difference. In our understanding of I am that ultimate, everyone, if person one says I have understood it, that understanding is exactly as same as the other person saying I am ultimate. I understand that whatever is here is seemingly there, it is not there. If they say that, they are very clear in what they are saying. They have understood exactly the same way, because that oneness is just one thing, right? They have arrived at that one thing. That one thing cannot be any different from other person's understanding. We say other only because of mind and the compartmentalization. Otherwise, there is no word that can explain it actually. So this is how it will work. I was saying, so recently now I was just thinking about, I got some idea, I want to build on it actually. Uh, like this Chit and Achit, the way the combination works, it's really amazing actually. When you say Chit is everything, Chit is the basis on which this entire Achit part, the subtler part of that Achit, see, as we go towards Manomaya, it is little tricky. Annamaya is very clearly understood. Pranamaya is also clearly understood. As we go to Manomaya, that's where we get little stuck actually, because Manomaya is mind through which we try to understand, and we are also trying to understand that itself. So that's where it becomes a little tricky. So there is something called Mana, which cannot exist without food, and which is little pervasive than the pranamaya and annamaya. It is little pervasive. Sitting here, you can think of America. Pranamaya cannot do that. Sitting here, you can imagine, if you know how America looks, or you have been to someone's house, you can just put that simple. It's possible. So it can just bring things from memory actually. So mind is so pervasive actually, it can do all that. I was just trying to, link it, to the concept of a particle with a static charge and without a static charge. So I just want to link it to that actually, and try to do a little bit more research to kind of equate these things in terms of analogy, not ultimate knowledge. Ultimate knowledge is Aham Brahmasmi, that's it. But in terms of analogy, I want to just say that it is the same particle which has charge, and it is the same particle which has no charge. So similarly, the charge part of it, I am showing it as Chit actually here. I want to equate it to Chit, where it is the same particle which is able to use this Chit, and it is the same particle which is not able to use this Chit because of whatever the wiring that is possible. So that Achit remains Achit. Chit is always there to bless everything. So it is something, I just want to kind of make an analogy, but that's only for that's only as an analogy. It's not an ultimate knowledge. Ultimate knowledge is Aham Brahmasmi. One is everything. I remember Sonia mentioning in one of the classes, in the context of this Vijnanamaya and more going into Aikya. So when we have Kartrutvam, who can have Kartrutvam? So the Vijnanamaya, it talks about Kartrutvam. So the I sense, where is it located? The I sense, exactly where is it located? It cannot be located in Jada, because Jada is something which cannot think. It cannot think. The thought, the idea of thoughts is only when Chit is available. The combination of Chit and Achit only can create mind actually. Otherwise, independently, it cannot be there. It has to use that mind actually. For example, that energy part has to be used by a doll for it to be able to play drums or whatever it is. That energy is very important actually. Similarly, Chit is very, very important for this entire thing to function. But Chit itself cannot be conquered by anything else actually. It is not available for transaction. Then how is it available for transaction? That's where the catch is actually. So that's where the analogy is very, 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 very important actually. So what Sonia has to say is, okay, the way of presentation was nice actually. Jada cannot have that Kartrutvam because it cannot think in any case. And Chetana has no ignorance. It need not worry about it actually. Chetana is that one thing. which it is already, it cannot have ignorance. तो फिर ignorance कहाँ है अभी? So in fact that's when I think Guru will come and say, वही तो मैं भी बोल रहा हूँ, ignorance कहाँ है? अभी गया तो कहाँ रहेगा? अभी गया तो कहाँ रहेगा? नहीं रहेगा ना. That's why you are not finding it actually. So when you analyze to that level, obviously you want to find where ignorance is. Ignorance भी नहीं मिलेगा. So that's what Maya is also presented that way, right? Maya is that which you can't see whether it is there or whether it is not there or it is a part. Sangapya sa anga a ananga. Sangapya nanga pibhayatmikano mahadbhutam anirvachaniya rupya. Shannapya shanna pibhayatmikano bhinnapya bhinna pibhayatmikano. Sangapya nanga pibhayatmikano mahadbhutam anirvachaniya rupa. So nicely that was given actually in terms of Maya. That can we say it is with parts? No. Can we say it is without parts? No. So can we say it is something which exists? No. Can we say which it doesn't exist? No. So nicely that was said actually. So Maya definitely creates world. Ignorance creates entire world actually. But when you want to try to find it, you don't find it at all actually. That's what Maya. That's the nature of Maya. So I think Swami Paramarthananda ji has given a very nice analogy. Maya, if you equate to darkness, you want to examine darkness to understand what is darkness, how darkness is. So to understand darkness, you need a torchlight. You take a torchlight and you go inside to really understand what darkness is. But unfortunately, the moment you have opened the light of knowledge, darkness is not there. So what do you understand of darkness now? So that is so, one obviously comes to this understanding that, this aham as a vritti cannot be there in jada. Jada being what jada is, it cannot have. That's why the dead body doesn't have this problem of aham. It will not say that, boss, please cremate me by only burning. Okay, don't put me into these boxes and all. It can never come and tell. That's the reason people try to create problems by writing it. पहले boss ऐसे ही करना चाहिए, so that those guys will have problems. तो यही करना चाहिए. You should be putting in that crematorium only, or you should take me to Ganga only. So all this पहले problem करके चला जाएगा. So body, when it is body, it has no issue, it has no problem at all. Pure body without that connection of jivatva, that ignorant guy being there to claim it. No, he's not there at that point in time, because that's where the Panchakosha helps. Some of this body has to be little bit more pervasive and separable from the physical body. That is how that body has to go out, so that physical body becomes useless. Correct? So we understand this from transaction also. We understand practically also. We understand there is something, or there was something which was activating and helping a person claim that ownership of the body. That owner is not there as of now. So at least that must be very clear. So this way, the mixed part, where it is getting mixed, if you want to really understand, you will finally see that yeah, mixed to hai nahi hai. So mixed to hai nahi hai, this is where the understanding is. So mixed to hai nahi hai is one thing. Now at that time, no, ask that person, mix hai nahi chalega bhai, ab samajh mein aa gaya. You have two things, one is jada, one is chetana. Now you tell me whether you are chetana or jada. That person cannot say definitely. If he has understood to that level, he will not say that I am jada. He will not say this actually. Obviously he is chetana. He is able to understand, right? So obviously he is chetana. So that is how one has to, when you think that way, that comes actually. So I always like that the way the presentation came about when we were discussing. It came out that way. So she was saying, yeah, this kartrutvam in any case jada cannot have, and Chetana doesn't worry about kartrutvam because it is oneness only. It has no ignorance at all actually. So फिर बीच में कहाँ से आ गया ये ignorance? कहाँ आ गया पतली गली? That पतली गली is what is very dangerous actually. Please go ahead.
Sir, so Chetna, we say that Chetna doesn't have ignorance. But I will say that maybe a realized soul, or maybe after this, the Chetna will not have. But today the Chetna is full of ignorance, and that's why we are so attached to this world.
Chetana is very nice actually. This question can always come. That's the reason I think Swamiji gives so many lines so nicely. He presents actually. See, at one point he says, just like the way space accommodates everything, right? Akasha, that's the reason. Avakashiyati iti akasha. It gives avakasha for everything. That's why it is called Akasha. Avakashi iti Akasha. So when space itself is like this, you can imagine the father of space, from where space comes actually. So father of space is Chit. Okay. Now he says very nicely, Swarupa Chaitanyam na Ajnana Virodhi. The Swarupa Chaitanyam does not oppose anything, including ignorance. Just imagine what a beautiful accommodation it has got. You can't have a better inclusiveness than this actually. You can't have better inclusiveness. The inclusiveness is to such a level that it can just accommodate exact opposite actually. So Swarupa Chaitanyam na Ajnana Virodhi. So just like space accommodates all, consciousness accommodates all, including ignorance. So ignorance is a subset of that actually. So total knowledge, in that only ignorance also thrives. So that's where the beauty is actually. So once this ignorance part is taken care of, and then automatically that other part is very much more clear actually. So this is where you have to really understand who is this guy who's claiming actually that it is me. Who is this guy? As you start searching, then you will find that guy is not there actually. That ignorant guy is not there. You will find it finally. You say, but I am only that chit, which can objectify all these things actually. Who is this guy? Where is the moment you analyze, then you will not find him. So that's how it becomes clearer. So good, Ashish asked that question about Panchakosha. It enabled good discussions. Sonia, do you want to share something? Any of your experiences during those sessions? Yeah.
भास्कर जी, I just wanted to add one thing. That पूरा ब्रह्मांड 25 तत्वों का बना हुआ है. It is from Sankhya Yoga.
Okay.
Kapilacharya has said this.
Okay.
And all the 24 tattvas plus one Purush, which he says Brahma, Chaitanya. Those 24 tattvas is again Prakriti. What you have, what you were saying that 5,000 you can make it 5,000, 50,000, however. So Rishi Kapilacharya has grouped actually that Prakriti is made of all these 24, which are, I think, Buddhi, Ahankar, we have Gyanendriyas, Karmendriyas, we have Panchbhut, and so that's how his classification.
Okay.
And one, he's saying Purush. So that's why in Sankhya Yoga they are saying that the entire Brahmanda is made up of 25 tattvas. That, as you're saying, different people, I would say, they are trying to explain in their own ways. So Prakriti के लिए तो 25-24 है. 8 पे Brahma, he also said Chaitanya is there, and then 24 rest are combined to make the entire Prakriti.
I know. I know. So in Vivek Chudamani, since we use the word Prakriti, I thought I can recollect that line. So where Shankaracharya says that this Atma is beyond all these things actually, and apart from all these things, it says separate from it's separate in the sense of identification, but everything is in that only. So he starts with this line: Prakriti Vikriti Bhinnaha Shuddha Bodha Swabhavaha. It is of the nature of just Shuddha Bodha, just knowledge, pure knowledge. Shuddha Bodha Swabhavaha Sad Asat Idam Asesham. Sat Asat everything. Idam Asesham. Pasayan Nirvisheshaha. It objectifies and it blesses everything. Nirvisheshaha. Vilasati Paramatma Jagradadish Avastha. So the Paramatma, he is there in all this Avastha. Jagradadi. Jagrata Adi. So all these things. Jagradadish Avastha. Swahamahamiti Sakshi Rupena Buddhehe. So it is more in the form of Sakshi. Like a witness, he is there in all these things, he is there actually. So between Prakriti and Purusha, we are trying to arrive at that Purusha as ourselves from this entire entanglement of Purusha plus Prakriti.
Bhaskar ji, I wanted to share one more thing actually. Just came to my mind. Like, when we are in the classroom or when we are in satsang, what happens that, we are totally into it. We think about it. Or when we read something, we are into it. But the moment a person is, in a different jiva, in a different setup, the vrittis take over. Whatever vasana and the vritti take over. And was wondering, I was thinking of that only, that, you told me that it is always about taking a pause. Then, in a particular situation, that taking a pause. So that taking a pause actually is the connection between the satsang and that, what we call, the worldly problems. In that pause, then I'm able to get my class. I'm able to go back to my classroom in that pause. So when I'm able to go back to my classroom in that pause, probably there is a connect between what I have, gotten from my guru and what then I'm able to, I will not say apply, but then process. So that problem, the problem which we are always discussing, how? No, I know this, I have understood this, I read this in the class, but when I am in the real life, this happens, or that real means the worldly things. So I really loved that pause thing, and today now I'm understanding. I always understand the value of what we discussed sometime earlier, and then later on I said, no, it is very, I can actually use it. It's a very important, very, very, I should say, powerful tool. So that pause, then I'm able to take that pause actually. Then I understand the power of that pause.
Yeah. Yes.
And that pause probably is a connection between the satsang and the, worldly things.
Yeah, certainly.
So that,
Certainly. It does. It helps. About satsang, no, not necessarily this Atma Vidya kind of a satsang. Maybe at least there was a Shubhashitani which talks about satsang. It goes this way: Jadhyam diyoharati, sinchati vachi satyam, manonnatim dishati, papam apakaroti, chetah prasadeti, dikshuhu tanoti kirtim, satsangati kate kimna karoti pumsam. So this is available also. I think it must be available in the internet also with translation. So it says the benefit of satsang actually, that it removes lethargy. Jadhyam diyo harati. So it removes that lethargy. So it also says that actually. Then papam apakaroti, removes sins. And chetah prasadayati, makes oneself a pleased person. And also, brings in fame. So obviously when a person is more of, happy by himself, automatically others get to notice that actually to a larger extent. No, mostly you see, people want to associate with people who are happy themselves. That always happens actually, and a happy person always radiates that happiness to others as well. That happens. So there is a nice Subhashitani which talks about the benefits of satsanga. Satsangati kate kimna karoti pumsam. It says, well, it ends, it says, what not it does. It does so many things, what not it can do. That's the way it is ended.
So one more thing I wanted to ask.
Please.
It is not now when you talk of Param Brahm, when we talk of Chit, you will get it the way you perceive it, or
See,
why I am asking this question. Shankaracharya perceived Chit as Nirakar, Nirgun Nirakar.
no, that is how Chit is.
But if I see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he perceived it as Krishna.
That we can superimpose always, no? See, when we can superimpose ourselves, when we have superimposed ourselves to understand I am this, I can superimpose myself to understand it as Krishna also, no? Very easy.
Like that is where my confusion is. Like if I see Meera, she perceived Chit as Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu perceived it as Krishna. But Shankaracharya perceived it as Nirakar. Like he has gone beyond that.
It just depends. It just depends. How one has been is one thing. What they knew is another thing. So, if a person has seen that that person wants to address in terms of a guru, this can come in. Meeraji's thing is perhaps she was not probably a guru. She was just herself actually. So we only infer from what she was. So if a person is in the level of teaching, to a larger extent, it can also happen that they want to address people to get from this level to the next level, and they may leave the next module for another person to take care. If Shankaracharya is already taking care of that other module, where the broad spectrum is already taking care to Arupa also, at least for those people who are totally stuck in the world, from there, if I can take them to a level from where they can pick up Viveka Chudamani and start with, that is a great help also. So this is why, we have classes, we have nursery school, we have elementary, we have middle school, and we have high school, and higher secondary school and college. So we have all this, and one person can start only high school, but he is not belittling everything after that. He is focusing on that actually to help people go from here to here. The only problem will be when that person says that this is the end of it, after this is nothing. Then that person has to choose to understand, is this the end? Am I resonating with this? Or do I feel that there is something more to it? If a person feels there is something more to it, then he is still not attained that moksha. He would want to achieve the next thing also. So that's where the real I, right, which is of that swarupa of Ananda, ultimate Ananda, it can never settle down for any limited Ananda. It can never settle down, because that is what its nature is. I mean, Karna, you can see that example of Karna. So Karna was, from that royal family, though he was, brought up by charioteer gentleman, the innate qualities that he was a Raja was always there. He always wanted to be a warrior, and he wanted to prove himself to be a great warrior than even Arjuna. How? Because that was that guna he already had, that Kshatriya guna, Rajasic guna, what he had, was actually, bringing his thing out. You can imagine, if at a small level itself is like that, that Chit, which is everything, kind of becoming a small thing in terms of this understanding, will it ever stop, from getting out of this limited understanding? It cannot. That is that everything, right? But the only problem is, when we get into this body, for example, Karna, the example itself when I was giving, he wanted to claim that his original self of being a Raja or a Kshatriya. He wanted to claim that original thing because it's the DNA, guna, everything is fine. He wanted to be that. But that's more also a limited thing. But he was also a Jiva, and then he is also that Parama only, right? Definitely what he was perceiving as happiness, unfortunately, was Vishaya Ananda. By becoming a warrior and by getting that fame, but by being recognized as amazing warrior, the number one warrior, he was finding happiness. But unfortunately, that was to a larger extent also misplaced, because his happiness was more Swarupa Ananda, and after getting fame, anytime it could have fallen anytime actually after that. That definitely he was not aware, but people get confused with Vishaya Ananda and Swarupa Ananda. Basically, Swarupa Ananda makes us do everything. But when we pursue some of the Vishaya Ananda, it goes into that order, and that's where, that angle, that direction, that's why we get unfortunately swayed and we pursue that particular thing. But actually, all that Vishaya Ananda, what we are doing, is for claiming the Swarupa Ananda only. So this is the reason a person from there, for at least in my case, I would say very clearly, because I can talk about me very easily, never about others. Even if I was said that Krishna is only one person and he is world and be a bhakta, I'm sure I would have done. I've written so many songs as well actually, after being an Advaiti also. I've written so many songs on Krishna, I love it actually, right? There, I would have come to a point saying, like, I'll be hitting like a wall. I mean, Krishna would become a wall for me actually, I'll be only hitting against him. But I want to go beyond that. How? That aikya, that distance between me and Krishna has to go. That has to go. That is where Krishna himself, thank God Krishna himself said that, and unfortunately people do not understand that itself. Krishna says in the second line after Arjuna stops his lamenting, first line he says, Ashocha nanmashochastvam prajnavadanscha bhashase gatasu nagatasungsha nanu shochanti panditaha. He says, boss, Arjuna, you are grieving for something for which no one should grieve actually. It is useless that you are doing it. Yet, you are showing as though you are an intelligent guy. Nanu shochanti panditaha, he is addressing him as a pandita. But you are doing this actually. Then second line itself he says, that's where tattva itself he is giving actually. There is no difference between me, you or any of these guys. We are all just one. That one tattva, we are all that one only. And Krishna never said, boss, you guys are different, you better be bhakta for me. He never said this. Somewhere else he says in a different context. Come, Sharanagati is the only way. It is all very contextual. But right at the second line when he says, Natvevaham jatunasham, Natvam neme janadhipaha, Nachaivan bhavishyamaha, Sarve vayam ataha param, Sarve vayam. Three, vayam is all of us. Right now, we are param. That aham brahmasmi, vayam brahmasmi is kind of, brahmasmi is to some extent actually. So that vayam also he says is Brahman only, the same that Brahman, all of us just one thing actually. So natvevaham jatunasham. None of these people will ever cease to exist. You, me, and all these people. And natvevaham jatunam natvam janadipaha nachaivana bhavishyamaha. And there will never be a situation where you, me, or these people will not exist. There will never be such situation. And then he says, Sarve vayam atah param. All the three of us, we are all eternal. He says that, if you ask me, Vedanta has ended there itself. But it only shows the level of preparedness of Arjuna, due to which those 18 chapters had to still follow after that second chapter. This comes in second chapter. So it only shows the preparedness of Arjuna, that okay, he had that adhikaratva to that level that he could at least listen to these things and graduate up to the 18th chapter. He could do that. But he was not at that level where straight away Tattvamasi word could have straight away gone into his head. He was not at that level. So this is where, if someone says that he sees Chit as Krishna, a person who has seen everything, self as everything, we can superimpose anything as that Lord, because everything is that only, no? Everything is that only. You give any name, A, B, C, D, any character you give, it is just the same. So from that sense, it may be working, but from the other side of it, if they see this difference, then that may become a problem.
So one more thing.
Yeah.
It's a very personal. I want to just. So when I am trying to understand Param Brahma, my internal fight is that I am not able to go beyond, say, I would say that I am not. So my challenge is also becoming that I am not being able to identify, is Krishna a Param Brahma, or Param Brahma is Krishna is also part of Param Brahma.
Krishna as an avatara.
Krishna as an avatara. This. In words, yes, I understand that Krishna is part of. But when I try to understand, or when I try to go beyond, I am not able to go beyond.
Simple example I'll give. We have wood, okay, as a fuel, and we have coal as fuel, okay. But if you ask me, coal is 2000 years old wood. That's all. But right now there is a difference between Rama, Krishna, I, myself, and everything. You can say, for example, this body and Rama's body or Krishna's body. It is just that, if you see, it is just that we are talking about. But at the level of energy, whether I burn wood, or whether I burn coal, or whether I burn oil, whatever I burn, it will only give energy. So if energy is that homogenic level at which we deal with, if we say we are energy, is there any difference in energy? The source of energy can be different. In energy itself per se, is there a difference? Energy is just energy. थप्पड़ जब होता तो एक ही एग्जाम्पल एक ही एक्सपीरियंस आता है. किसी के हाथ से भी थप्पड़ ले लो, एक ही एक्सपीरियंस. पेन तो पेन ही है, खत्म बात. दैट इज एनर्जी. So at energy, we have to just understand. That's why this is more of jnana than transaction, not karma. So at a karma level, I have to burn wood much more than coal, because it has got kind of little bit higher moisture than coal. Coal is much more better in terms of whatever it has already become over a period of time. So ज़्यादा पका हुआ है already. Compressed. So that difference, transactional difference can be there. But when it comes to energy, finally churning into turbine and then coming as electricity, उतना ही शॉक देता है whether biomass हो या solar हो या ये हो, wind energy का हो. We can't say that I like to take shock from सस्टेनेबल एनर्जी सोर्सेस. सस्टेनेबल एनर्जी में जितना भी यू मे हैव लव टुवर्ड्स सस्टेनेबल एनर्जी, यू कांट से दैट गिव मी अ 500 volts, you know, shock from wind energy. I accept it, but don't give me shock using fossil fuel because that is not good for world. ये कोई नहीं बोलता. एनर्जी के लेवल पे सब शॉक एक ही रहता है, शॉक ही रहता है, बस खत्म बात. सो लाइक दैट when it comes to chit, we are talking about the equivalent of energy. There's absolutely no difference. It is just chit. And the point is, it is not like we are different and chit you are objectifying. That's where the problem is. This is the capability of mind actually to show that it still exists and it wants to understand what chit is. बेचारा उसको समझाना पड़ेगा, boss, you are jada and you are using this chetana for this analysis itself, boss. And this chetana is everywhere. So you stop. You cannot see the chetana, the sarvatvam of chetana. You just stop where you are. You only understand that you are a subset. Resolve there itself. Keep quiet. So basically what happens is with jnana, you are able to bring that sushupti kind of a resolution of mind, sushupti equivalent of resolution of mind, though you are awake. That is what is turiya. When we are awake, when you can, what you can say, trivialize mind, saying that by using what? By using mind, that this is jada and this is anitya, let it be. So if we can understand that from jnana perspective, job is done. That's what turiya is all about.
And that is what is Anandmaya.
Ananda, not Anandamaya.
Ananda.
It is Ananda.
Ananda.
Yeah.
Ananda.
Yeah. Yes, Sonia, please go ahead. You are on mute, Sonia, in case you are talking.
सोनिया जी आप म्यूट पे हैं.
Unless,
हाँ यस, मेरा इंटरनेट कनेक्शन का थोड़ा इशू था. I just wanted to share one thing actually here, Bhakti ji.
please.
Like you know, Manish ji, आप कह रहे हैं कि आप परम ब्रह्म कृष्ण पे रुक जाते हैं. आप, am I right? I hope I got it
Correct.
So you know, I want to share similar things. Like Bhaskar ji knows कि मेरे को ये था, मैं यहाँ तक हूँ कि कृष्ण या हमारे रघुनाथ जी राम अल्टीमेट है, और आप ही की तरह मुझे भी है कि मेरे को मालूम है कि मैं मतलब एक ही है, सिर्फ वो, मैं भी वही हूँ, ये भी मुझको मालूम है. लेकिन जब हम प्रार्थना करने बैठती हूँ, जब यह जो मेरे सबकॉन्शियस में हमेशा रहता है, वो एक रूप में रहता है, क्योंकि हाउ विल आई कनेक्ट. शंकराचार्य ने बता तो दिया, यू नो, शिवोहम न मे राग द्वेषो न मे, उन्होंने बताया, मैंने समझ भी लिया. लेकिन जैसे आप कह रहे हैं कि वो मैं कैसे उसको करूं, पर इसलिए जो कृष्ण का रूप है या राम का रूप है या जिस भी रूप को हम करते थे, मेरे लिए भी कृष्ण और राम का है, तो मेरे को बहुत मदद मिलती है. और मेरे को ये लगता है कि क्योंकि समझ तो मुझे आ गया कि वो ही कृष्ण, मैं भी उसके अंदर हूँ, वो मेरे अंदर सिर्फ एक वस्तु है, पर मैं उस रूप में रहती हूँ और मुझे बहुत इजी रहता है कनेक्ट करने के लिए. और शायद ये भी सत्संग, जैसे भास्कर जी ने बोला कि और क्या करना है, सत्संग ही करना है, तो ये भी सत्संग है कि हम कृष्ण के साथ बैठे हैं और हम उस रूप से ही प्रार्थना करते हैं ग्रेस के लिए. एंड आई थिंक जो आगे का हमको एवोल्यूशन होता है, भास्कर जी करेक्ट मी इफ आई एम रॉन्ग है, कि जो आगे हमको एवोल्यूशन होता है वो ग्रेस से मिलता है. आगे और समझना, और कंड्यूसिव एनवायरनमेंट हो जाना, और यू नो सत्संग होना, अच्छे गुरु मिलना या गुरु का मिलना स्वयं अपने आप में, जो हमें गाइड कर रहे हैं, ये सब अपने आप होता चला जाता है. तो उसके लिए जिस अवस्था पे आप कह रहे हैं ना कि कृष्ण अल्टीमेट है, वो बहुत अच्छी, बहुत खूबसूरत, इतनी प्यारी अवस्था है. एंड भास्कर जी इज राइटिंग, ही सेड आई कैन राइट मल्टीपल सॉन्ग्स, यू नो, सो दिस विल हैपन. You are just in love, I would say. For me, being in love is like, I'm in love with being in love. So it's just like being in love. So when you are in love, then फिर वो अपने आप होता जाएगा. आगे it's like it will help, it will happen on its own. Even Shankaracharya was a great devotee of Shiva. Despite saying Shivoham, he used to worship Shiva. या वो देवी माँ का सौंदर्य लाहिरी उन्होंने लिखा. So रूप, साकार रूप से तो हमको अटैच होना ही पड़ता है, बट हम हो जाते हैं. That's how we are designed. The jiva is designed. But it's a beautiful stage. It's not a worrisome stage. And if you are in it, it will help you. It will just take you ahead. This is my personal experience. So it might be different for different people, but this is my personal experience. So I thought I'll share it.
Good. Thanks, Sonia, for supplementing.
Thank you.
Just wanted to share in the lines of, Meeraji. I didn't talk about Meeraji's state of mind. As I said earlier also, Bhakti has its own benefit. In Bhakti, we are just packaging this entire thing as the entire Jagat, no? We are packaging it in Jagat Karana. It can be a Devi, it can be a Deva, whosoever it is. Whatever name we give. In that we fix. So those who say it is Krishna consciousness, they fix it in Krishna. Nothing wrong in it. So we package the entire world into that as the ultimate cause. And we just revel in that thought of being with that person. That's all. So in this entire thing, the problem of world is gone. Because we have put world into this person, and this person is not a problem for me. This is how my worldly problem is gone. So the problem of samsara has already gone to a larger extent because of packaging samsara into this person. So this is where I think in Karma Yoga also we take it this way. If we understand Ishvara is everything is Ishvara, including Dharma. Dharma is Ishvara. If Dharma is Ishvara, when a punishment comes to me for any of my karma, I take it with, equanimity. Because this is how it works, and this is my Lord's world, and this is how Dharma works, and it is Him. So I take it as it is a slap from Ishvara. I am very happy because Ishvara slapped me. Because it is my personal deity. It is Ishvara who is giving me this. So if Ishvara says that, boss, I want to kill your ignorance, I want to open my third eye, please open. Because that is the bhakti you have. So when that ignorance is gone, job is completely done. That is the next level actually. So in the level of bhakti, from three, the Triputi model which we have, one is inquirer, one is the ultimate cause, third one is world actually. So in Triputi model we have three. We have to resolve three things. Now in bhakti, world is gone actually, because we have packaged that into that Jagat Karana, and we are only having two persons there actually. Obviously, the entire world, once it is gone, you don't have any problem, right? With one person, you don't have any problem, normally. So, you just say Krishna and be happy with it actually. But unfortunately, Maya being what it is, if you give a small gap, world can come inside actually. In that small gap, only world comes inside. वो पतली गली देना नहीं. Then how do we do? Aikya. So Krishna is me only. Understand that पतली गली नहीं रहेगा माया घुसने के लिए. This is how it works. Good, nice. See, I think as much, this is what Vichara is all about actually. As much we keep discussing, bringing out, different perceptions, different thoughts, doubts, that's when the clarity will also come actually. It will come. Good that we are having these deliberations.
I think that is what our Guru Parampara says.
Yeah, definitely.
This is
all
what
meant.
it is.
Absolutely. It is meant for deliberations only. And it's very clear that a diktat can never work here actually. Mind being what it is, it will ask for, clarification. And even an unknown doubt will still create a problem. And it will keep trying to refine that unknown, that ambiguity and bring it in the form of doubt and ask and get it clarified. This is how mind works actually. And we are looking, moksha is that ultimate clarity. We should never be settling down for anything less than that. So we never give Patli Gali at all. Patli Gali has to be gone completely. Good. We'll chant Purnabada.
One more request before that.
Tell me.
Like it's a kind of, I was just thinking about it. We as a group, that we have been understanding so many things from you, we should have maybe a kind of where we can have you present with us and maybe do 3-4 days of full day sessions with you. Maybe wherein we should be able to ask all. At times what happens is that the questions don't come. But when the lessons are over, you contemplate onto it and you think about it. You have so many questions, and probably with me, because of my Ajnana, I have so many questions, and maybe 90% of them may be absolutely stupid questions. But how to resolve them? And that is what creates a lot of turmoil. Because I am not finding any answers, I am not finding any way. Maybe it's a very trivial question, but I am not understanding it. I am not getting an answer of it, and it creates a turmoil.
Definitely, why not? In any in any case, even in these sessions, I think the way you have been always asking questions, without any inhibition, that's amazingly useful for everyone as well. Not only to you, it's everyone. It's useful for everyone. Even others may have some of these doubts, wherein it gets clarified. It is like that, many a times it is like you are like more Arjuna. So wherein you are just asking questions and someone is answering. That's it. So others also get benefited by that actually. So that is what I think that Samvada was also. That Samvada is helping us even today. Good that Samvada happened actually.
Happens,
So
yes.
so like that I think in our satsang also we are doing this. That's good. But what you're saying is you want it even more intense actually. If I think everyone's calendar looks, if Maya allows that, definitely we should have. Why not? It's a good thought.
You brought Maya again.
Yeah. So Maya comes in the form of calendar. Maya
I mean,
time.
our entire, you were saying remove that patli gali from where the world enters,
Yeah.
and then again, and world is Maya,
I
and
know. This
so
is
we
where it
have to
enters.
remove that patli gali answer.
Yes. Agree. This is where world comes actually. That a transactionary world is always fraught with realities, practical issues. That's how transactions are meant to be. But gyan wise, even though we know time comes only from oneself, I cannot tell in the office saying, boss, ये क्या कौन सा time की बात कर रहे हो? There is nothing called time actually. That will be very. I used to do many things, like that in writing forms and all. I used to write actually. They used to ask me, how do you motivate your what motivates you? I said, I don't need anything external to motivate me. I'm everything, so I'm motivated automatically. Motivation is a part of my, ability. That's it. So I don't need to be motivated by anything external factor. Some of the surveys I remember back in 2003 when I was into all these things, when I used to fill up those survey, the guys used to read the answers. They used to feel really astonished. What the hell this guy is saying actually? What will motivate you to do more? I said, I don't need anything. I am self motivated. I used to when I used to get incentive, for doing certain things, like annual incentive. I think performance incentive was always there, and then when I got into a band, I started getting it, and we were one of the very few people who were getting it actually. So I used to go and tell that super boss saying that I'm not working for these extra things actually. Whatever way I am, I'm happy, and if you think that I'm motivated because of this, you don't need to be thinking that way. You don't need to give me all these things. I used to say that actually. And that gentleman, couple of occasions I told, that gentleman used to recall that in one of those uh, events where we got into kind of workshop where we wanted to look at strategy and many other things. It was meant for high performers to get them to some other level and all. So it so happened that there was one exercise where they said that the person sitting to the left side should talk about some important things about the person sitting on the right side. So that's how it was. It so happened that chief was sitting to my left side. He happened to say this actually. He's saying that I never seen someone coming back and saying that I don't want incentives. I was in this period of Gyan actually, that those days actually I used to do that. Anyway, transactions being transaction, they have their own uh, time and space realities. Otherwise, no, we don't have uh, any restriction in the way. We'll think over it. Why not? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Or maybe Bhaskarji, whenever you are here in Ahmedabad,
Yes.
and if we are also here, and if not for the entire 2 days or one day,
I am ready to, and whosoever is not in Ahmedabad,
Huh.
I am ready to host them in here, but we need this 3-4 days of intense discussion.
We will do that. We will do that. You know? We will do it in Water Lily itself. We will do that.
Maybe we will find some question answers. Maybe we will not find answers. Maybe you will have more questions.
Yeah.
We don't know, but that something.
I'm all for it. I'm available. I think it's only that we have to only ferry Bhavya from this session and of course Ambika ji. So only we have to ferry them.
There Ambika ji, Bhavya, and I think Ashish is also not there.
Ashish is in
Ahmedabad.
Meadows. He's in Meadows.
Oh, okay. So he's in Ahmedabad.
Yeah. He's in Meadows only. So no problem. We can look at it. We will float that idea and we will have that. Why not? Sometime, back, I was just thinking that, I should just buy a vast expanse, buy in the sense whatever, create a place, which will be like a nice place where you have lawn, this, that, and everything. And also have a facility, where we can have a kind of ashrama itself, where we don't have to create that kind of a sannyasa ashrama. Simple, this kind of an Atma Vidya stuff only, and have deliberations there actually. Something I thought, something residential also we can make it. If it works, it works. Actually, I think what you're saying is more a prelude to that. Off late, I was thinking that. Good. Superb.
What's up?
We'll chant Purnamada. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Good day, all of you.
Good day.
Hari.